Well, welcome to the Logistics Point interviews. We are joined by Mike Bhaskaran, who is the CEO of Digital Technology and Logistics at DP World. And we're going to talk about a few projects around DP World. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you for having me.
So I mentioned a few projects, and the first one I would like to talk about is going to take us to Rwanda, and something that DP World has helped local Rwanda coffee farmers to improve their exports. Can you just give us a bit more idea and a bit more details on the projects? What was it? What happened there?
We were working about 3 years ago. We were launching this product called World Logistics Passport, which allows acceleration of goods and merchandise through countries. Think of it like a green channel when your merchandise actually gets through a country. And Rwanda was one of the first countries that actually signed up to this program. So we're very excited about His Excellency Emmanuel, who supported this program. And one of the conversations that came in was, we have great coffee. Our coffee is like used for blending with other coffees, but we have a challenge with packaging. And then, at that time when we were developing new routes, via Dubai, and developing new solutions to Latin America and Africa, we didn't anticipate packaging to be one of those constructs in new supply chain, but we just realized how important that was. So we went and spoke to Swisspack, our local, companies over here that we work with, and then say, okay, how do we take this premium coffee and then package it such that when we deploy it and then showcase it in our single detail page, as it relates to Dubai.com, which is our e-commerce B2B, then customers can actually see that and then buy it, and then see not only like the presentation of the coffee is equally important in terms of the quality of the coffee. So that was a good opportunity for us to work and help the farmers in terms of how you have to showcase your product. And we're very proud of that, and then we're very excited, and there's so many more opportunities that will transpire that just gave us ideas to where packaging and presenting is also an equally important aspect of the supply chain, along with many other aspects of digitization that we do.
So what would you say was the largest or the biggest challenge when it came to this specific project?
One is like, how do we package it? I mean, obviously coffee is being packaged in multiple areas right now. When you go to large coffee dealers, or merchants or shops, you will always find specialty coffee. But how is it really well presented and then, represent the area, in terms of their coffee production was very important for us, and what works for them as well. So where we, you could simplify this, we were trying to merge more buyers and sellers again, and somebody who's providing a very important value in the, the broader supply chain. And so just connecting the farmers and making sure the right partnership with the packaging organization comes in, who are patient, we can listen to the customer questions and answer them, and then provide an effective solution, was all important.
What is the role of organizations like DP World in supporting smaller local producers to enter global markets?
I think we have a important role to play. We do about almost like 80 million plus containers through our ports. We handle more than 10% of global container trade. So if you think any which way you slice and dice it, sizable portion of that will be SMEs. And for them to facilitate that, as our customers to come to our ports, we have a very important role to play in terms of providing new market access for them. Just like in this case, Rwandan farmers packaging it, posting it in Dubai.com, where we digitalize the e-commerce experience for farmers producing tea and coffee, and then avocados, what have you. Providing them with working capital, much important working capital needs. We have a very important role to play there on a transaction by transaction. As they have recourse, we can use container as a collateral because they come to our ports and start de-risking financial institutions. We have a very important role to play in their broader supply chain digitalization as well, in providing a user experience in Dubai.com, a front-end e-commerce platform. But also we have like ERPs, which tells them how to operate their backend, give them like operational efficiencies to have like low-cost ERP solutions where they can, place purchase orders, fulfill their demand. So all that construct is also equally important for us. And lastly, obviously one of the things about the broader climate aspect as well, in terms of highlighting how much carbon is being emitted in this particular process, and is there a way to offset it, and finding like relatively low areas of carbon offset. So we have like these four different areas: providing market access, working capital, operational efficiency, and also like a significant awareness to climate aspect as it relates to the carbon emission, and then how do we go ahead and create offsets for that.
And one of the things you mentioned, and I want to touch on, is digitization in the shipping industry, in the supply chain. I think for me, the fair question is, how is this going? Are we reaching our goals? Are we aware of what needs to be done? And is it easy to reach it?
When we first started our journey, it's like, do we solve it in whole or solve it in parts? We felt like parts is actually better in terms of each area. So we started like concentrating on the e-commerce aspect. And then, in crates.com, we provide rating and routing, multiple options for spot market, and provide like slot cost solutions for our customers. If you want to know exactly in a Panamax vessel, how much a slot would cost you if everything was full, the sky is blue and the grass is green, you have a scenario, what would be the cost? And customers would like to know that. They want to know the digitization aspect and how quickly they can rate and route through automation. And also track and visibility, which has been a continuous challenge in terms of what's depending on perishable goods, what's the temperature inside the container, and when does it show up. So all of these areas, we started concentrating in each one of these areas, because one of the things we also noticed was there are some companies which are really good in ERP. They have like very strong solutions, SAP, Oracle, whatever, and then homegrown solutions as well. So this way, when we are developing solutions for market access, for ERP solutions, rating and routing, shorter decision making, shorter decisions, lower cost solutions, and subsequently high level of visibility. So there is a smorgasbord of solution that actually fits every customer, so they can take our solution and plug it in. Okay, this is the gap that I have. I can go work on that. So we felt like that would be a better approach, than offering everything that we have, and then something that the customer has, he doesn't need, and then we're trying to push it. So this way, we specifically are customer centric. Whatever the challenges that the customer is highlighting, then we go ahead and then provide that specific digital solution, whether it's being carbon credits or working capital, or access to market, like I mentioned, or like faster and quicker delivery methods and cheaper delivery methods all over the world from point A to point B.
And another very important aspect when it comes to shipping, and I think the overall supply chain, is environmental efforts, which you talked about as well. Do you think that the industry is prepared to do this huge change now? Is it going to be easy in a way for us to reach these goals by 2030, 2050?
I think, one of the things that I really am excited about is, so we today have a method to capture, if a container leaves Shanghai and comes to LA, how much carbon is being emitted, right? Depending on the vessel, and then how much the slot and capacity, you get like a, good estimate at this process. And then you have offsets marketplace that we personally offer in crates.com, which we fractionalize it. So if somebody wants to spend $1 million in reforestation plan in Africa, that may not be very palatable for a lot of customers. A small farmer who is actually doing about 30 containers of avocados, he needs to be a part of the process. That may not be a good idea to go back and say, how do I go join this? But if you mention to him, you are just using about like 1.5 tons of carbon in this process, and you can offset it, in Africa, in Kenya, in Uganda, or any other places, for $5 an offset for reforesting it or coming up with a solar project, that makes a little bit more sense, So it's like, okay, yeah, it's a $1,500 container. I'm going to spend another $10, and then have this climate consciousness, as we should all have, it's then you bring everybody into the equation, to go ahead and then help solve and then highlight it. So our objective is to go ahead and then metric it and show what the capability is and provide solutions. And then with the click of a button, customers can actually say, okay, I want to buy this offsets, and then slowly start like, proliferating this across the network and making sure that everybody's got access to that. So we feel like it's a very important role for us to play, and we will work with everybody to go ahead and do that.
And who should be the leading party when it comes to digitizing shipping supply chain, but also the environment efforts? Do you think that it comes down to companies and organizations like DP World, or it's also for the shippers or the larger government organizations?
I think the ecosystem, like everybody's got a role to play. Obviously the policies, I mean, it's just like net zero policies are very important because it just gives us a really good, goalpost to achieve. It's just like, and then starts us like realizing. So this policymakers are a very important place. So that will start driving how we want to go, and then creates awareness. And in terms of shipping companies, so it also forces you to just start looking at alternative fuels, right? To go ahead and look at, when we are in the shipping business, or how do we solve for empty containers? Why are containers going empty? How do we create like backhaul solutions, which are, avoid more and more of these empty containers moving from point A to point B? So I think everybody's got a role to play in this. And when you fractionalize it, you're even further taking it to an associate that, it's the climate is, everybody's got a role to play in the climate. And that's the way we want to go ahead and then, look at this opportunity and challenge for us.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for your time. And as usual, people can learn more about all the things that we spoke about and more from DP World in the description below. Thank you very much.